Hey guys, this is Tom from Numbers Game Lifestyle, and today we're going to be doing a review on Home Math. He did a video about attraction. How attractive are you? And that is very relevant to us guys in this whole dating and relationship sphere. It's very important to understand, are you attractive? Are you attractive enough for the dating market in order for you to find what you're looking for? And he did an absolutely amazing video. The first time I came across Home Math, I remember looking at his videos because this guy's blown up. Guy's almost got like 1 million subscribers in like a year's time. It's crazy. His videos are very good, very informative, very objective. Truth. Okay, this is what I like about this guy. He doesn't sugarcoat things. He says truths, just like I do. I spit truths. I don't mince words. I don't lie to people. And he doesn't either. I really admire his honesty in his videos. So let's have a look at what he has to say about attraction. I agree with most of what he says. I just want to expand more on what his video covers. I think there's a little bit more to attraction and figuring out if you're attractive. And I'll get to that. Okay, but I agree with tons. It's a very informative video. Highly recommend it. Let's watch it, and I will cut in on what I totally agree with and what I think needs to be added to, get further clarity on this whole attraction thing. So let's dive in. I hope you like this guy's videos because I sure do. Let's have a look.
How do I know how attractive I am? It's the number one question I get since starting the channel. I'm going to give you 2 rules to find out, but first let me explain. This is my how attractive diagram. It's new. I included a guy and a girl evaluating themselves and each other according to the standard female delusion chart. It's based on examples of relationships and the power dynamics that structure them so you can get a sense of how people assess their own value and trade it with others. Basically, what is this person giving to their partner or target partner, and what are they getting in return? This is what I think we should all be shooting for, perfect 50-50, and also admitting that we are average. I included...
This is a key point. Lots of people don't want to admit that they're average. And it goes for men just as much as like women tend to be a little bit more delusional, but men can be just as delusional. Okay, they can go through, approaching 100 women, approaching 1,000 women, and being like, "Yeah, I'm better than average," when the market is clearly showing that you are not. You are not better than average. Otherwise, you would have some sort of results. Women would be going on dates with you. Okay, so yes, women definitely greatly over-exaggerate their attractiveness. But men can too as well. And a lot of the times they just don't want to admit it. It's their own kind of like, I'm attractive, I'm better than average. And that's what you'll see, like a recurring theme. Every guy thinks he's better than average. Every guy thinks, in a lot of cases, that he's a top tier man, that he's got all this stuff going for him, but women don't want him. Okay, like that makes any sense whatsoever. Like you have all of this value, you're so attractive, you have all this stuff going for you, but women don't want you for some reason. Or maybe your self-evaluation needs a little work.
The attractiveness bell curve with the not people zone built in. That is why most guys don't get attention. That's why there's a second average here. That's Ryan Gosling. That's the average of the men that count as people. I included the ways that we evaluate each other. There are things that everyone likes or doesn't like. There are things that people usually like and don't like. And then there are personal preferences and then a reminder of how to use them. And finally, a reminder that not everyone has the same opinion. I've gotten this from up here, and I have gotten this from down here. I depicted a variety of relationships that...
Absolutely. You will find that you have... you can be very attractive to, a top tier woman and not very attractive to bottom tier women. And again, a lot of this has to do with an availability. Okay. Let's just call it sexual availability, meaning, is this woman actually interested in meeting men? Okay, this is the whole thing that kind of home math doesn't cover. It has a huge impact on your results when you realize that only 1 in 5 women are actually interested in dating any men whatsoever, whether that's a 1 out of 10 man or a 10 out of 10 man. It really doesn't matter. There's only 1 in 5 women ages 18 to 29 that are actually interested in meeting men and dating them, potentially having a relationship with them. So you have to keep these numbers in mind whenever you're out in the field, whenever you're experiencing these things, that the majority of the women that you see during the day aren't interested in you as a man. It has nothing to do with your attractiveness. It has everything to do with your availability, which is why you need lots of women to see you before you can get an accurate assessment of where you rank in terms of your desirability.
This is an Elon Musk, Andrew Tate type situation. He has a lot of money and power, and so he doesn't have to put in much effort. Here's an example from an old video I made. She doesn't want none of that unless you're attractive. She says, "Don't catcall me unless you're a 7, by which she means 9. This is a relationship I was in. That is a picture of me when I was good. I spent some time with somebody who I liked, but there was a large attractiveness difference, and so she tolerated a lot from me. Here again is what most people should be shooting for, on the same level, each putting in half. Here's another example from my TikTok. He was in a relationship with someone who wasn't putting in anything. As you can see, it does not matter how hard he works, she wasn't ever going to change. And finally, at the bottom, I have a reminder that it doesn't always have to be 50-50. As long as everyone is happy with the situation, somebody who is maybe of a little lower value can put in more, and someone else of a little higher value can put in less, and it can work out. You can do something like this if you're okay with it, and if you're not okay with doing something like this, then you have to just not do it anymore. So basically, this would be what someone perceives about their value, and then how much work they're willing to put in for what they perceive about their partner's value. Sometimes people will say something.
And I would be very much against this whole dating dynamic of the woman's not very interested in you physically, but you do stuff for her that makes up for that. And I don't know how guys can actually live with themselves in this kind of situation where a woman doesn't really want to, there's no burning desire to get into bed with you. How terrible would that sexual experience be with a woman like that? That's just kind of like, I'm not very attracted to this guy, but at least he's got money. At least he takes care of me. And that's what he's going at here, like the out of shape guy that, puts in a lot of work to earn her affection. That is a terrible way of going about this. You can't live with yourself as a man long term in that situation. Make yourself sexually attractive to the women that you're with. You don't want this woman tolerating you. You want this woman like lusting after you. Sure, you can kind of game the system by spending a lot of money on her and giving her a lot of things to make up for your lack of attraction. But it's a terrible way to go about it. You're going to have terrible relationships. I don't know how anyone can live with themselves in those kind of situations. I'd rather be single and working on myself to make myself more attractive so I can actually have experiences with women that want me as much as that I want them. There's equal sexual attraction. Again, this is what they call beta bucks in the red pill. He's not very sexually attractive, but he puts in a lot of work. He's very stable financially. She tolerates it. Improve yourself so you can, get a better relationship, have a more fulfilling relationship.
Something like, I know a guy who's a 2 who has a girl that's a 9, and that's not true. It's just that she perceives something in him that equalizes the value transfer. So people don't have a value. They have a perceived value, and everyone perceives it differently, and how attractive you are is the average of how.
Totally agree. And your behavior on dates can drastically change how much value a woman sees in you. If you go out of your way to, bend over backwards for this woman that you're with, she may have thought you were a 10. but you're complimenting her. You're like so impressed with her. You can't wait to buy stuff for her. You do everything for her. Suddenly, she originally thought you were a 10. You had everything going for you, but because of your behavior, your lack of game, you lower yourself, and now she's just like, really, this guy's a 6. Like she dropped that far just by the way he is acting. And the same thing can happen when a woman thinks you're on equal playing field. Let's say you're both 7s, and she's like, yeah, this guy seems like a 7. But if you act like you don't care, like you have dating options, and you don't bend over backwards for this woman, you're not afraid to tell her no, you're not afraid to not pay for a date, you don't compliment her. They don't say this, but in the back of her mind, she's like, man, this guy, he doesn't act like all the other guys that kiss my ass and do everything I tell them to do. And suddenly he's like, man, there's something different about this guy. Maybe I assess this guy wrong. Maybe he's higher value than me. And that is why you have to act higher value than women that you're with. I don't care if you think she's a 10. You have to act like you're above her. You have to act like, it's no big deal. I see chicks like you. I date chicks like you. I sleep with chicks like you all the time. And that's the thing you have to keep playing in your mind. Like, this is no big deal. You cannot be like putting these women on a pedestal as soon as you think like they're above you. And it will leak out in your behavior every time. If you think this woman, was so hot, so amazing, your behavior, your what I call scarcity signals, because you don't get women like this very much. Your scarcity signals leak out. You compliment her. You can't wait to like bend over backwards, be super accommodating to her. And right away, the woman's just like, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling this guy. And that's exactly what happens when you act like you're beneath her.
How you are perceived. It's not all looks. I once said that I know where I am with women, but...
Correct. It is not all looks, but initially, it pretty much is. It is pretty much all looks. Other things can play a factor in certain social circles. Like your ranking within that social circle can be a big plus to your attractiveness. But looks, it's pretty much the biggest thing there is. The only other thing that's more effective than your looks is pre-selection and having other attractive women around you, wanting you, lusting after you. Yeah, that's even more powerful than your looks.
Not with each woman. I've gotten, again, a variety of responses. That can make it hard to tell where you are, and that's why you have to pay attention to feedback. When I started getting in shape, I noticed that more women would smile at me, and they would pretend to be helpless, so I would do things for them, and then they would look at me on the street. And I never made it up here, but some people do.
Exactly. This feedback tells you whether you're moving in the right direction or not. Whenever you go out, you're going to see women looking at you. Hopefully, if you are attractive to women, some women will be looking at you, giving you double takes, smiling at you. But here's the thing again, we're talking large numbers. Like if you go out today and you see, let's say you see like 10 women lay eyes on you, but nothing happens. Like they don't look twice. It's like you're invisible. You're going to go home thinking, oh, I guess I'm just not really attractive. No women's checking me out. You don't realize that only 1 in 5 women, ages 18 to 29, are actually interested in meeting any men. Okay, so they're not going to throw out signals to guys that, they've got their man situation figured out. Where they are in their current situation is they don't need a man. They're not looking for a man. They don't care what you look like, whether you're a 1 or a 10. They are just not in the market for a new man. You have to keep these numbers in mind every time you go out, meaning a lot of women have to see me because only 1 in 5 are available to any man. This has been tracked in the Pew Research Survey, where they tracked 18 to 29-year-olds, and they found out only 1 in 5 women in these age groups are actually interested in meeting men and actually interested in dating or hooking up, whatever, relationship, anything like that. Okay, so 1 in 5. So a lot of women have to see you. okay, in order for you to tease out whether you're attractive or not. Because again, sexual availability, only 1 in 5 are. Most women that you see during the day, at night, wherever it is, already have their man situation figured out. So it doesn't matter how great you are, how good your game is, none of that matters. They're not in the market for a new guy.
So I think I'm here right now because these things have slowed down for me. So I was here when I was young, and then I put in effort and everything changed, and then, time. Some women still like me a lot, but they have to get to know me first, which equalizes attraction. So that's feedback. For men anyway. For women it's different, but you have to pay attention to the feedback you get, and then look at what kind of person you're getting it from to know where you are. And yes, nothing is a kind of feedback, so if you're getting nothing, that is an answer. But there are...
Exactly. I can't tell you how many guys I say choosing signals are mandatory. Okay, if you are not getting choosing signals when lots of women see you, there should be some attractive women checking you out, some non-attractive women checking you out. But if a lot of women see you, you should be getting eyes on you. You should be getting some sort of signals. And if you are getting zero feedback, that is a guarantee that you look like the masses. You look average. You are an NPC. You are not the character, okay? You are not a playable character. You are a non-playable character fading into the background. And of course, you've got work to do in order to make yourself a playable character. Okay, you have to stand out from all the other masses in some way. You should be getting looks, smiles when you go out. If enough women see you. And again, don't take it like you go out one time and no one gives you a look and you're like, oh, I guess I'm not as attractive as I thought I was. Keep the numbers in mind. And a lot of women have to see you in order to find the available ones. Pew Research doesn't lie. These surveys have played out in my cold approach journey over and over again. I knew the majority of women, it doesn't matter how great I am, aren't interested. It doesn't matter if I'm model tier, make all this money. They are not in the market for a new man. This is sales 101. Whenever you're selling stuff, if you're selling a vacuum cleaner on the street and the majority of the people are kind of happy with their vacuum, they're not going to care how great your vacuum is. They're not in the market to buy a new vacuum. This is just like supply and demand. They maybe not be happy with their situation, but they're content. They're not actively looking for a replacement. When you go out, it takes time to finally tease out whether you're attractive or not. You have to be continually going out, continually being exposed to more women to get your feedback. The more women that see you, the better. So that way you can figure out if you're getting feedback or if you're blending into all the other non-playable characters.
Things you can do about that. You can self-improve, and you can get to know people. A lot of guys just go after strange women forever, and they're like, why is it not working? It's because you're here when they don't know you, and you're here when they do know you.
This is the big kind of disagreement I have with Homath here. I don't think familiarity means anything whatsoever, okay? It means absolutely nothing. Okay, because here's the thing. People are always like, well, the girl that I worked with, I got a date with her and she was very attractive. Guess why that was the case? Either she saw that you were a higher rank than her, and then she's like, oh, okay, this guy's more powerful than I am. He's further along in the company. That makes you a more attractive. So yes, your status in that hierarchy makes you more attractive. I will grant you that. But that's not really familiarity. That's just like, oh, he makes more money than I do. He's higher ranked than I do. Yeah, I'm a little bit more attracted to him. But again, let's just take an example with this. Let's say she works with a guy, on equal playing field. They both work the same job. And he's kind of dating her. They're becoming familiar with each other. They get to know each other. Maybe they go on a few dates. Nothing really happens. It's just kind of very platonic. And let's say that woman, all of a sudden decides to, hop on Tinder. Or better yet, some guy cold approaches her. He's very attractive. Cold approaches her. She goes on a date with him. They probably hook up. And most likely, at some point, he makes a move. And they hook up, and she's totally forgot about the familiar guy from work, okay? The guy that was better looking swooped in and scored the chick. He won that because he was more attractive. Yeah, he made the moves. He moved faster. And that's why I don't believe any of this familiarity. Familiarity makes chicks more attracted to you. It's the exact opposite. Guys do this friend zone stuff over and over again. Oh, I'll make myself really familiar with her and then she'll want me. It's the exact opposite. The woman's attraction for you is at its absolute highest when she knows absolutely nothing about you. And that's because her imagination can fill in all the blanks. She can be like, oh, I wonder if he's this guy. I wonder if he does this. Everything is a mystery. That is why your attraction is at its absolute highest when she knows absolutely nothing about you. And that's why I don't understand these guys that are like, oh, familiarity, that's your best odds of, having success. Absolutely not. If this woman has more attractive options than you, she will take them. You just have to hope that in your office environment or in your kickball team that there's not a more attractive man in that same environment, or he outranks you in that environment. Again, these hierarchies play a part, but it's not familiarity. The more a woman knows about you, the more a woman learns about you, the less mystery there is about you, and there's less desire. There's less sexual attraction towards you. That is why it's like love at first sight. At that point, she fills in like this guy's gonna be my absolute dream guy. She fills in all the blanks like he's gonna be absolutely perfect. The more time goes by and the more she learns about you, it's kind of like, oh, okay, he's not exactly like Mr. Perfect, but he's good enough. That is the familiarity. If familiarity actually worked, then friend zone guys would be getting laid all the time. Guys that are just taking their time, becoming really familiar with women before asking them out, they'd be in like Flynn. But that's not the way it works. It's attractive guys moving fast, whether they know this girl or not. I have just as much success, approaching women that I don't know, than I have just as much success that I have approaching women at work. It makes absolutely no difference. The only difference is if I wait longer, let's say I meet a girl at work and I wait super long, the more she learns about me, the less attraction she has for me because she's like, oh, I got this guy figured out. I know what he's about. On to the next. Mystery is way more attractive than knowing exactly who you are. That is why familiarity, it does the exact opposite of make things more attractive. You just have to hope and pray that she doesn't have more access to more attractive men, that she's not on Tinder or she's not getting approached by attractive men, because they will blow out, they will totally smash the familiar guy that she knows from work, that's taken his time, he wants to get really familiar with her. The attractive guy from Cold Approach, the attractive guy on Tinder is just gonna smash right through that. He's gonna bang her on the first date. And the guy will be left wondering like, oh man, that guy was such a jerk. Didn't he know that this girl was mine? I had dibs on her. That is familiarity. If that actually worked, if that actually increased women's attraction for you, these friend zone guys would be the biggest pimps in the world. They'd be like, man, this is how you gain chicks. You got to be friends with them first. It's so easy. I nail all these 10s because of familiarity from work or from school or whatever it is. No, it absolutely means absolutely nothing. In fact, familiarity decreases her attraction for you. The only time it increases her attraction for you is when she realizes that you outrank everybody else. You're the highest guy on the totem pole. You're the, one of the boss's assistants, or you're higher up in her hierarchy. Or let's say you're on a kickball team and you're the best player on the team. Suddenly, you don't have to be the most attractive guy. You're the best player on the team. She wants you above everybody else because you're the boss. You are the most valuable player. That's the only time familiarity works. And it's really not familiar. She knows right away, oh, he's the best player on the team. Oh, he's the number one sales guy on the floor. She learns this very fast, probably on the first day she meets you. She's like, oh, this guy's the top seller. Oh, this guy's the best player on the team. It doesn't take her long to figure this out. She doesn't have to take long to figure out where you rank in the hierarchy. And of course, once she finds out that you're higher ranked, she's like, okay, there's more attraction here. Yeah, that is my gripe about this familiarity thing.
So once you get your feedback, identify who you're getting it from. When I got these looks on the street, they were from women in this range, which fits this model. And when I asked women for a number, they told me 8. It all kind of fit together. Let's talk about why this is difficult. Talking about attraction is emotional. Some people just don't see the feedback, some people don't want to admit that they're average, and some people are just delusional.
Absolutely. This is a tough pill to swallow for most men. Just as it is for women, I'm a 10. Like he's saying, like this 4 woman thinks she's a 10. And yes, that is because of like social media blowing up her ego, thinking that she's a 10. But guys go through the same thing. They go out approaching a bunch of women, shooting their shots, getting nothing in return, and being like, oh, must be my game. Something's got to give. I got to figure out the secret words. I got to find out the secret lines. That's what's going to get me the chicks. It's like, no, you have to improve. You have to physically make yourself more attractive to women. That is what gets your foot in the door, okay? Without this, you have no grounds. You have no foundation. This is your foundation. This is why I spend so much time when I'm coaching guys on your looks. Like, it's the number one thing. This is the most important aspect of this whole thing, is maximizing your looks, making you look the most attractive to women. And guys are kind of like, oh, like, I don't really want to do this. Like, no, there's no magic words. There's no magic line that gets you chicks. It is your appearance. We have to make the most of what you have. Maximize your strengths and minimize your weaknesses. But guys are very apprehensive about dealing with this. It's a little bit, like he says, guys kind of don't want to admit that they're average. When the feedback that they're getting, or the lack of their feedback, is showing them that they're average. They are NPCs. They have to do something to not be NPCs anymore. You can say you're a 10 until you believe it, but you cannot say you're a 10 until I believe it. This guy thought 10 was too high for a literal model. Here's what he looks like. Yes. You get these in the comments all the time about these attractive women and guys saying like, I wouldn't waste my time getting in bed with that chick. I'd bang 10s. I don't have to waste my time with that chick. And they never show their faces. You never see what they look like. All these guys that are so above their women that they're tearing down. It's kind of what I call the virgin complex, where you have this idea in your mind that only the absolute dream girl, this mystery woman that is out there, this absolute 10 out of 10 that you've never seen before in real life, she's out there, and that's the only girl for you. That's the only woman you're interested in, is this mythical, perfect woman. It's absolutely nonsense. And every other woman they see is like, oh, she doesn't have a big enough ass. Oh, boobs are too small. All this completely everybody has their own preferences, but let's be realistic here. Okay, you're not showing your face for a reason. Also, different people value different things differently. I would rather have a 10 here and a 5 here than the other way around. So, judge by universal and usual preferences and not personal ones. Include everybody in the world in that age group. And include everything you know about them to get their total value. That's how to judge fairly, but not everyone will do that. So you have to remember how this works and then look for your feedback. Let's do guys first. I said I used to get looks from women on the street when I was up here. That's rule number 1 for guys. If you're getting attention from women who don't know you, you're doing good. That's why very few men get all the attention on dating apps, because very few men look good to women right away. Familiarity evens things out, so if you know her pretty well and it's not working, she probably sees you as down here. And again, the familiarity, I don't believe it at all. Familiarity doesn't mean anything. It's just the amount of access, her exposure to men is all that matters, and how you rank towards her. If this woman has 100 men to choose from, it's going to be difficult. There's 100 men that you have to be better than to have an option with her. You may meet another woman that's very attractive, but she really only has 5 men that she has access to, 5 men that interact with her. In which case, Great, you only have to beat 5 other guys. This is why I did a video on, how attractive a woman is doesn't necessarily mean how difficult she is to get a relationship with. It all depends on the invisible competition, who you are competing with for that girl. And trust me, it doesn't matter which girl it is, you are competing with a guy or lots of guys. And if there's lots of guys, you better be the best. It's going to be tougher. It has some to do with a woman's attractiveness. Like, the more attractive she is, generally she'll have more options. But the most important part of it is her exposure to men. Does she work around a lot of men? Does she use online dating? All those things give her tons of access from men to choose from. What about a woman that's very attractive and she goes to school full time and she goes to work part time as a receptionist at a dental clinic? Her access to men is minuscule. It's maybe like a couple of guys. And in which case, you have a very high probability of getting a date with her, getting a relationship with her, because you're not being compared to hundreds, thousands of other men. That is what's important. It has nothing to do with familiarity. It has to do with the invisible competition, the amount of men that she is exposed to. And the more men that she gets exposed to, the tougher it is going to be for you to date her, hook up with her, have a relationship with her. Okay, that is what's important.
You should either adjust your expectations or work on yourself. And you should work on yourself. I went from here to here and it changed everything. Guys down here tend to think that women are just difficult, but if you make it past this line, you get to be difficult, and I recommend it.
This is absolutely money. I've noticed the same thing. Average guys think that, sex isn't that important to women. Women are not as horny as men. Once you get above that, once you get above average, into that, what he describes, 7, 8, 9, 10 range, you start to realize that women are just as horny as you. They express it towards you. And you realize man, these chicks, there's a lot of them that want to hook up with me. And you don't realize that when you're the average guy getting meager returns for all the work you're putting in. So yes, like he says, he highly recommends self-improvement, improving your attractiveness.
If I think you're a 4, I probably wouldn't put you higher than here, but I might put you here. You have to know who feels this way about you and who doesn't, and this is how you know. You can't listen to what they say, they'll say anything. You cannot pick who you like and make him keep you. We do not work that way. You have to find out who wants to keep you and pick your favorite one. If you start with this, then you're not filtering out the guys who will make you end up here. Your level is the best guy who will commit, not the best one in your inbox.
Yes, this is a common thing for women in online dating especially. Women will be like, online dating is terrible. All these guys just want to hook up. They just want to pump and dump me. No, that is because you are dating out of your league. When a woman dates out of her league, she gets pumped and dumped. She's just like, I can do a lot better than you. So you're just a one night, no one's going to know about it kind of thing, down low. If a guy thinks that you're on his level, he's really into you, he will want to see you again. He will call you to see you again. There's no getting around this. But women, have the tendency to want to shoot their shot just a little bit higher. They get matches with very attractive men and they be like, oh, okay, it means I have access to these guys. I can have a relationship with them. It's like, no, you are just, the pump and dump, or like he calls it, a sweeper, sweeper under the rug. And yeah, that's the, every woman kind of has this kind of delusion where, yeah, I can sleep with all these attractive men, but, all they want to do is, they never want a relationship. It's like, yeah, these guys want a relationship, but they're waiting for one that's on their level. Okay, they're waiting for one that's attractive enough, pleasant enough, whatever they're looking for. ticks all the boxes, they're the ones that are going to get a relationship with this guy.
So for men, you're looking at what kind of woman is giving you signs of attraction. Being nice is never going to change that. And for women, you're looking at what kind of man is giving you signs of commitment. And more attraction to him is never going to change that. I think we all know these things on some level, but we just don't want to be honest with ourselves. We don't want to admit where we are. But if you do, that's going to get you the best result. This is what most of us should be looking for.
So there you have it. I love this guy's videos because he presents it in a very straightforward way. The drawings are awesome. You know, like a little kid could figure this stuff out. Fantastic. There's only a couple minor, caveats that I wanted to poke into his video, to add a little more depth to it. But as a whole, pretty much bang on. There's just a couple little things that need a little bit of clarification, which is what I did on this video. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Thanks for watching.